The problems of love. Yeah. Honestly, that's probably been my biggest weakness is falling in love. It slows me down. Hey, what's up? I'm Shaboozey and I'm here with MTV. Getting my music out there and all over the world has been a really cool experience. It's been awesome to just see people all over the world like listening to a bar song and singing it and dancing, and it's cool to see all the dances going on, man. Love to see it. And it's cool to, hang out with Jimmy Butler at his crib and play spades and just have a good time. We're just talking about country music and just hanging by the pool. That's my boy. Shout out Jimmy. I remember exactly where we were, yeah. We did this show with Charlie XCX and we jumped off stage and, I was like on stage, I was like, I'm about to perform this song for y'all. It's about to come out in like 10, 15 minutes. And then the song comes out and we're in like the back, like the green room or whatever. And, I got my managers there. They're talking about, they're like, yeah, I think it'll do like 1 million in like a week. And then there was like this bet going on. They were like, man, if it does 1 million in a week, someone's gonna buy someone dinner. And I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, yo, bro, I think this is gonna do like 1 million in like an hour. And then, yeah, we were just like watching it. And then like the first 5 minutes, like the first 2 minutes, we already had like 100,000, 200,000. And then it was just cool to see it do that, to just defy all expectations, especially like, you've been making music for a while. And even our last single, Annabelle, which we thought, I love that song. Like, I always thought that song was gonna be like something really big. It took like 1.5 months, 2 months roughly to get to 1 million, and you got another one that did it in an hour. It's crazy to see, or a couple hours. Everyone was excited to see that. Thanks for the listeners and the fans. And then, in the Beehive too, everybody just coming together. Getting an award, especially one through Billboard, has been something that legends do, man. You got the Beatles and all these different acts that have been able to make history in that space. So it's cool for me to get some recognition there too as well. Going platinum, almost double platinum in like 1.5 months is a feat within itself. So it's super cool to be up there with the greats. I think just seeing a lot of people having dreams of wanting to be, hit a big stage and seeing people work their whole lives to get there and fall short for some reason or some circumstance or the other. And for me to get there, knowing that I started music as like a hobby is something that I did to just express myself. Nothing I thought would be crazy. You had the dream, but sometimes when your dream's so high, you always think like, come down to reality, come down to earth. So it's cool for me to like have those dreams and just keep going until they actualize. Yeah, I think it's important to definitely share your platform with others. I think that's the main reason why us artists even create, is to just inspire other people to do the same, especially when you're on a journey of trying to better your life. You want everyone else to kind of be able to do the same. That's how you're making a real impact. The idea of taking the Jaquan song came from just, like looking back into like what I like and what I grew up with and taking my influences and bringing it to country. Because, country is also about like paying homage to older legends. So I was like, well, let me do that in my way, as well. So, Jagged Edge, let's get married. You're gonna do that joint in the country song, a little honky tonk classic. But yeah, it's cool to see like the fans, the new ones, man. Everyone is having so much fun. They're super excited and, they support me and I love them for that. I was definitely always a writer. The music thing kind of definitely came like naturally. I didn't have to think about it too much. Maybe it was just in me the whole time, to be honest. I think I saw things change for me pretty early on. I mean, even like, those little moments count when you're younger and you're 19 or 18 and you put out a song. Like I had this song called Jeff Gordon. I think that kind of like really showed me like, okay, this is somebody. Like, when you're performing a song and you don't perform the song because everyone else is singing it. I was when I got my first like label interest, was like 18, 19. I had that song come out. So I think that was kind of like when I realized I got something here. So pretty early on, I think Jeff Gordon kind of started it by some moments earlier, but that was like the first one that was transcended. It was really cool. I mean, even being able to like connect the two between like Beverly Hills and Spaghetti, it's almost like Beverly Hills is definitely its own timeline and it has its own chapters and stories that I'm going to continue to explore. So this new project kind of departs from it a little bit, but it was cool to like bring that character or that timeline back for like Beyonce's record. I heard the guitar part and I was like, this is what this, and then the song's called Spaghetti, so I'm inspired by tons of spaghetti Western films, and I heard she was as well with like creating the project. So I was like, I just kind of knew what to tap into for that song and that record. If you know Beverly Hills and listen to All Men Die and listen to those records, you can see that there's like a similar theme throughout those songs that carries into Beyonce's project. So it's cool to like be able to have like a crossover moment like that, you know, with the Bootcut Kid, Biggest Outlaw.
Lived a lot of life, and my biggest mistake is leaving my town with a pretty lady. Treading my heart like a day old paper. Ran me wild and drove me crazy.
Always just betting on myself. I think that's what Vegas is kind of about, just betting on myself and hoping we win. Just cut your losses. And I'm like, nah, let's keep going. Just taking a lot of risks and betting on myself a lot, honestly. Just taking bets when it's just like, you should probably, you know, hedge those bets, if that makes sense. Or, you know, you should probably not do that and play the safe route. Just never done that. Always taking risks, creatively, life choices, things like that. So it's just like the thrill of the win, honestly.
You said you would never let me go. To face this girl is gonna take a miracle. And we both know you don't believe in those.
It's just something that just came out of me. I mean, it was definitely a song that was freestyled, but there's just some lines that just mean a lot to me. You know, like, to fix this girl is gonna take a miracle, and we both know you don't believe in those. It's like, you could sit down for hours and just talk about what that line means. You know, I'm still here, not really like a you, it's more like, hey, I made it out of this thing, and you thought you were gonna break me, but you didn't. I'm super into like films and telling stories. We shot that on like 16 millimeter with my boy Gary Long. I don't know, I just kind of saw it and I was like, hey, this needs to be, I feel like this needs to be kind of like, have this old, like this vintage feel and just see like a lot of texture. So it was cool to just be able to like have a story and a concept of like this guy and all his exes are manifesting in this house that he's trying to like get away from. So cool concept.
Grab the matches, start a fire. Burn the memories in the flames, it's behind us. See the gold in the red, new horizons. Let it burn.
You know, I wanted to do just something a little bit more, you know, the first one's kind of like big and poppy, and I was like, man, I want to do something that's just a lot more organic and acoustic. So, you know, because that's my favorite stuff. Things that are like stripped back and kind of indie and, you know, bluegrassy. So I might start doing a lot of versions of my old songs and turn them into like songs like that. Videos are like super important to me to just like create a world. You know, I'm huge and big on like world building, so I wanted to continue to do that and be like a big part of my just like artistry. Before I was like the one coming up with the treatments, editing the videos, sometimes coloring the videos. The process is changing, you know, I'm definitely trusting my collaborators a lot. You know, it's cool to have like other people that see my vision and I can kind of like let them take the reins because I'm just doing so many other things and they're killing it too. I think there's something in there for everyone. I think that's what's really cool about it, is just to see that, you know, Tipsy's such this like big kind of pop record and, well, pop country, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, sometimes it's cool to just see like people are always like, is it country, is it not? And each song I'm like always like showing more and more that I'm like, not only is it country, it's different. Just want people to know that, you know, just all the genre conversation. It's just like make good music and have fun together and just focus on how it makes you feel, not, you know, where you can box it into. Thanks for watching. Stream my album, Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going, out now everywhere.